What's going on, y'all? Finally back after a long break, but I feel like making some more content, and I'm going to go about doing it in a long form way this time, or at least today. And man, I've just been reflecting here lately, thinking back about there's just some jobs and work, just ways to support yourself that, man, I just feel like, some people, I would say everyone, there's something that you're just not really a good fit for. And your like mental well-being and just everything like really suffers from it. But I kind of come to realize I could probably do just about any job, but it's like the people are really what make the job. Like I would say you could have like a pretty shitty job, but if you have three, four, or hell, maybe an entire shift of like good people, it's a lot more tolerable. But there's like the element of the job really sucking, and then when you have people that also suck too, I mean, you got to get out of there. I live in an area, it's not like a huge town, but it's not like the smallest. It's like a little dot of civilization, like in this rural area I kind of live. So the neighboring, I guess, like areas, it's just really out there, really not anything to do, not much work out there. So many people come to this town, city, whatever, to, get work, whatever. But I was thinking back when I was a machine operator, and we had this lady, man. She was, I would say lady like she's older, but she was maybe a year older than me. And she was kind of wild. You could tell that she was coming in there from like she was on. I think she had just lost her kids. I don't know if she just lost them, but she hadn't had them for a while. And I think she had her aunt and her uncle. Like she was staying with them so she could, I guess, get back on her feet or whatever. But man, she was probably one of the most annoying human beings to walk the face of the planet. This girl Steph, dude, she was just out of her mind. So she would come in the mornings, right? And there's a lot of backstory to this, so I just kind of want to get it to the point. But I switched shifts at some point, so I was like on a second shift. So I was working like what was it, 3 to 11 p.m., 3 p.m., 11 p.m. It was kind of whatever, but I didn't really dig morning shifts too much, so I'd do that. That was until they offered a thing called the weekend shift where you'd work only like 3 days, right? But they're 12-hour shifts. So you would work under 40 hours, but you'd still get paid full time, right? And it was awesome because a lot of the higher ups that would just like walk around and kind of bother you when you're working, you could just focus more. There were less people that you had to interact with. It was just like me and our crew because it was on the weekend, so no one else was in there. Well, I switched over to this shift and it was really nice. I just got along with the little group I had. Like there was like the lead that I was working for. Like I'd be in her rooms and she was so chill. This Jamaican chick, she was awesome. But lo and behold, I actually got to escape this Steph chick, and she wasn't too crazy, like because I could just walk off and go to another room or something like that and help them out. So it really wasn't that big of a deal. But she decides that she comes over to the weekend shift, man, and this was like my breaking point because being with her for 12 hours was really unbearable. One was because I could tell every morning she was like bouncing off the walls. This was because she was obviously on methadone or something, to just you could tell she's been in like rehab or something. And like I said before, she was living with her aunt and uncle that were helping her out, and she would like always bitch at him. She's like, "Well, they won't let me take her car out for this and that. I gotta go straight home." It's like yeah, because you're like going out getting loaded and you lost your kids, man. Like what are you talking about? But anyway, the method you could just tell she was just like bouncing off the walls early in the morning. And see, Fridays would be like I think Fridays were like our first, yeah, Fridays were our first day. Like if you were on the weekend shift, it'd be like the start of your week would be a Friday. And so when we would come in, we would do it was 7 to 7. So I would come in, and the Friday would be the only day that we worked with other people from the other shifts. You know what I mean? We like kind of come in, but we just stay in one spot unless they needed us to. If we finished and we need to go somewhere else. And this is where I was already at my worst point mentally, right? So as I was saying before, for me, I feel like for a lot of people, like the people you're working with, your coworkers, really make the job what it is, like bearable or unbearable. I had just lost a friend. He had went to, well, not like lost, but he had went to LA. He was originally living in New York, came down here to work for a little while. He ended up marrying some girl that he ended up hating. And once they came down here to kind of, I guess, like raise their kid, she kind of turned into a monster. And he just hated her. She was pretty awful, I'll have to say. But he was a solid. He actually like was one of the reasons why I got bumped up and promoted, because he was just like a good dude. And they brought in some, what was it? They brought in like some new equipment. Like it was like serialization, and no one there like wanted to, like none of the mechanics or anything or maintenance wanted to learn any of that shit. So he already knew, because I guess they had it at Amazon or something like that. So he already knew, and he's like, "Yo, dude, I'm gonna show you how to do this stuff, and you're gonna get a raise." I'm like, "Cool, dude." So, and we're gaming, hang out, smoke, play some shit. Like we're really tight like that. He was a really good dude. He's from the country, Georgia. Dude, and I was like, man, like tell me about what's going on. And it's just like always really cool when you live, at least for me, when you live in the middle of nowhere or like in a rural area. I know a lot of people are like, get out of my cut. Like, I think it's cool when you have somebody from a different place coming in. I'm like, yo, tell me what you're about. Like, I know what all these dumb fucks are going around about, but just kind of joking. But a lot of people, you just know what the fuck they're about here. Anyways, I lost my Georgian bro, and it was just me like at the helm for this now. And I was just really not doing good. I want to say this was right around when COVID popped off. And it was technically a laboratory I worked for. It was a factory, whatever. But we got like a hand sanitizer contract, man. And we were just like getting worked, dude. So I'm already like, feeling shitty about the job, because I thought I liked it, but turned out I just liked hanging out with like one of my good friends all the time. And then second, like we were just getting reamed by hand sanitizer. Like, holy shit, man. But there was one day in particular, like that really, I lost it. So this was, I'd like to wake up, I didn't like the morning shifts, but I try to wake up like a good 30 minutes earlier than I needed to, just to come in my living room, make some coffee, throw on some internet today. Like, it's like a little news channel with Ricky and Elliot. Like, I really like the channel, so I'd throw that on, just like have something in the background, maybe take a couple bong rips. So my morning felt pretty good this day. I felt like I was ready to pretty much tackle the day, right? So I get in, I go get like dressed down, put my coat on and all that bullshit, grab my tools, and then I start heading to like I guess like the main floor, whatever. So as soon as I come up, I'm going up to the place where you put like your PPE, like your protective like gloves and all that stuff on. And dude, that Stephanie chick comes out, and she's already running like 1,000 miles a second. Like with her, dude, she comes in, she's like, "If I were you, I wish I wouldn't be here. Everybody's asking, where's the machine operator? Where's the machine operator? If I were you, I'd be bouncing up and down right now." Dude, that like being met with the first human interaction at my job with this like toothless, insane chick just blew my mind. Like it not blew it, but it just like, I was like, I'm done. Like I needed to be here for 12 hours, and this girl has already shot it. Like I can't even focus or have the need to be here. Like I literally want to go back, clock out, go right back home now. And dude, I think there's two different ones, and I might be getting them mixed up, but I think it was this time. I just looked at her and I was like, dude, I don't care what the fuck you're on. You got to just leave me alone, dude. Bro, she got so upset and started like boo-hooing and stuff. I was like, dude, I am like a psychopath at this point. Like I'm like ready to snap over the tiniest stuff. And the thing was I was like the only person, since I told you my boy that was the Georgian dude that like helped me get promoted. After he left, man, like dude, I was like in such a bad mood all the time. And there was another time, it was something with her, and it was like the same situation. She came up and just started reaming me with some insanity, and like I know I couldn't have, like I really didn't want to pop off, but I had it in me, but I just did not want to. And dude, I remember just hanging up my tools, dude, and going into HR, and I was like, dude, I don't think I can do this anymore. And I was just kind of telling him, I was like, I'm like literally losing my mind right now. But I think it was that day they let me go home early then, or I just said I was just gonna leave. Like it was ridiculous, because as I stayed there, I was like such a unique person. Like, or I don't say like unique, but I was like one of the only people that knew how to do this particular thing as a machine operator, and no one else really wanted to learn it. So like I could get away with like murder. Like and it was the bad thing about it. This is like something anybody should learn from. If you're like, say you're like valuable and you can get away with a lot and you hate your job, dude, don't embrace it too much, because what started happening to me is it started bleeding into my real life. Like, I was just being like a huge dickhead for no reason. Which to me, your coworkers, whatever, you don't like them, or they're just, some people are just super annoying. It's kind of whatever. But dude, once that shit starts bleeding into your regular life, it's like, oh shit, this is like, I'm like, engineering myself to be just like a horrible person right now, dude. I'll never forget the day that Stephanie, man, she, like, I'm not like, when I said she's toothless, like, dude, she had smoked meth till her teeth were like black, and she had maybe like four of them, and she had like three or four kids too, man. I'm just like, geez, dude. But there was one day she came in, and I guess they had finally pulled out all of her teeth, and I was just like, and she just looked wild, dude. Just like, I don't know if she ever planned on getting her teeth fixed or to even get a pair of dentures or something like that, but she was just a character and a half, man. Like I was saying before, she would just get pissed at her, like her aunt and uncle, for not letting her drive wherever. I'm like, dude, like, what are you talking about, you fucking crackhead? Like, these people are like the only ones giving you a chance, because I've interacted with you for like, I maybe worked with her for like 6 months, and I was like, dude, I wouldn't give you the time of day even if you were like on the side of the road bleeding, dude. Like, you're crazy. But anyway, another annoying dynamic is like, man, I remember this one guy. I think his name was Jordan or something like that. He was like a really kind of average guy, but I think he got promoted, and I don't know what it is. I've never seen it in real life happen like this. But once this guy got promoted, he was like acting like Gestapo, dude. He was acting like, so, dude, he was trying to be all forceful and like all this, but he never was before, right? He was like always kind of meek and like quiet, but he just got this like this head on him. And like everyone's really chill. Like, I do my job and I get stuff done and we just move on about the day. But dude, this guy is like, he's like talking down to people and stuff. And I think one time where, we were the weekend shift, we come in and, I'm dealing with, like on that Friday, I'm working with some of the other shifts for like a brief period of time. And this guy was like talking down to me, like on some crazy stuff. And dude, I can't remember what I said to him. I just said something, dude, you have to understand how unhinged I was at this point. Like, circle back to what I was talking to at the start. Like, some jobs, like, you just realize you're not built for them. Like, way to make a living. Like, now I have like my own little hustles, and I have like I do some freelance here and there, and I'm just happy with it. I get to work from home, and it's a blast. I can see where some people wouldn't like it and want to go to a physical place, but dude, once I got nestled into it, I was like, oh, like, my life doesn't suck anymore, right? And being down here, like, I kind of like having even if it's about gaming or just some type of intellectual stuff, or like some internet, just something happening that's like relevant to me. Like, no one really talked about that shit or anything. So I was like pretty much left to myself, and I'd pop in an earbud, just listen to a podcast while I work most of the time. But thinking back on that job, all of I want to say anybody that was like in their later 30s, even no, I'll take that back. Like in their 30s, like late 20s, that was like a maintenance person there or something like that, bro, all of them were trying to cheat on their wives. I'm like, dude, like, you have a kid with this person and you're over here banging all the Spanish chicks. Like, what are you doing? Like, you're really ready to face everything, like, once they find out or something like that. And, these, like, redneck dudes, like, I was like, man, some of these spicy Latinas, man, they'll like get some revenge on you, dude. Like, do you know what you're doing right now? I was like, you're just like one bad something away from her, like just shooting a text or sending something on Facebook to your your significant other. And yeah, it's gonna be Facebook, because dude, like, it's just what everyone would probably use in the this job or whatever, the type of people, just, it's probably their only social media they got. That was really, that was actually probably a bigger takeaway I realized is, in factories, dude, everyone cheats, man. It's like, so many people just are so bored with their lives that they just gotta like find some action, man. I'm like, dude, your life is about to crumble, dude. Like, you're married. Like, if you go to court, man, you're gonna lose like literally half of your shit and like have to fight for your kid, man. Like, what are you doing, dude? God, dude. Honestly, speaking about like people having kids and stuff like that, you ever just realize sometimes that I feel like so many people are on this level and so many people are not on this level at the same time? Is you realize that your mom or a parent should have never had kids, like someone that is like from your own, like your own mom or something, right? Because I think back and I'm like, after, I'm going to be 33 this year, looking back, I'm like, how did I survive, bro? Like, my mom was kind of feral growing up, and there's a long period of time where I didn't talk to her for, I say, maybe like a decade or something like that. And it wasn't till maybe 4 or 5 years ago we kind of started talking again and stuff like that. But it's still like I just don't think I can really comprehend like how bad I had it. Thinking back, retroactively, whatever. You have those friends that you go over to their house and shit seems weird, but it's not actually weird. It's you being weird because you're used to so much fucked up shit, bro. Like, I'm like, I go to my friend's house and be like, yo, dude, you have a bedroom? Like, this is insane. Like, yo, your parents don't just like tell you to shut the fuck up all the time when you try to do something dude, I was a kid that needed to be stimulated. Like, if I didn't have gaming, like dead ass, like dead to rights, I would have been like a serial killer, dude, because we lived literally it was like a super old house. It was like mega run down. Our shower was like it seemed like a dungeon, dude. And there's like always like crickets and spiders, and dude, it was horrible. And my mom didn't really clear out. There was actually another bedroom, but she didn't clear it out for years, dude. And still, it was like it was like a really rundown house, so the room was really weird. And I slept, or like just kind of gross. And I slept on the couch like a majority of my life, like in my at least like from like towards the end of elementary school going into middle school, because once I got into middle school my grandma actually took custody of me. And dude, that was like the shit, man. Like, my grandma was always if I didn't have her, bro, I would be like, I feel like if you're in a situation where you have a super shitty parent or parents, whatever, and you got like at least one solid like I don't know, like lifesaver, like a little beacon of hope, man, it really gets you a long way. Because I don't really think about things being repressed by like trauma, but I was talking to my grandma, like, this is maybe a little while back, maybe like a year or so back, but this has really stuck with me. And I remember I used to do this. I had completely shut this off in my brain, right? But as soon as she brought it up, I instantly remembered everything. And like, sometimes mom would just be out of her mind, right? This was back before, well, actually, we did live in a trailer at a certain point, and the trailer was way nicer than the dungeon we moved into later. That's what I'm going to call it. So it was like a lot nicer then, but I remember I would go into my mom was just like being insane or yelling, 'cause she just like yelled all the time, bro. Like, it was insane. So I would like sneak into her bedroom, and I knew my grandma's phone number. I'd dial her number like really like slowly, and I'd be like, hey mama, like, can you come get me? Like, I would just, and she's like, yeah. And I'd hang up, and then Memo would come in, but she'd act like she was just coming, to pop in as like a little check, like just to come check out or come visit me or just say what's going on. And then, she'd be like, well, I can take my grandson if you just, want a break or something like. And of course, like, mom was always happy to pawn me off, like, because dude, she would like leave me places. She would like leave me like with some family I really didn't know for like a long time. Like, she'd be like, oh, I'll be back, in like an hour or like 30 minutes or something like that. And dude, it would be like 8 hours. And I'm like, I remember one time I almost broke out of this, like the person that was watching me, I like broke out of the house because dude, it was like 10 p.m. and she never said anything when she was going to be back. Right. So like, I like broke out, and I knew where I lived from there, but dude, it was like, looking back on it, it was maybe like a 5 to 10 mile walk, and I'd have to go across the highway, but I was literally gonna do it. And as I'm walking out and I'm about out of the neighborhood, someone's dog starts barking, and they're like, yo, it's like, who is that out there? And I'm just like quiet, and I kind of just start like walking faster, and they're like, said my name. I was like, is that you? And I was just like, yeah. And then they took me back in, and I started crying. And I was like, I just want to go home. Like, I don't know who these people, like, I haven't been here like with these people ever. And it just wasn't my home. Right. I just wanted to go home, play my Sega, dude, and chill. And I remember even talking to my girl, like, we've been together like going on 7 years now. And I was like, did your like parents ever just like leave you somewhere? Like, did your parents like just not, did no one ever just not watch you? She was just like, oh no, I don't actually think. I was like, damn, dude. And just like I didn't really realize how much it was burned into my head, just like all these like really weird behaviors that I started like looking at myself and I'm like, oh dude, like I really don't want to be like my mom, but I have like some like just dude, she creates excuses for like everything. Anytime you want to like get into something like just get stimulated. It was always like shut down with like, oh, why would you want to do that for? I can't do this. I can't do that. Whatever. And that really is a big mental block, dude. Because sometimes I try to audit myself. I'm like, oh, like do I just not want to do this? Because can't is like a different, scenario. I try to be as positive as I can and try to grow because I've grown a lot. Man, since I think when I was like 20, 19 years old, dude, different human being entirely. And like, it's just, I remember I was always a heavier kid when I was younger because my mom just fed me like just absolute garbage, dude. We'd eat fast food like almost every day. And she kind of thought that you'd had to eat like, I don't know, just like so many meals a day. She's still like after we've kind of like established our I guess somewhat of a cordial relationship now, right? Like, I just want to keep it somewhat friendly. But I've realized that, dude, she's just like a different breed, man. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, so she has diabetes now, which is it's like the type 2 that it's like lifestyle choices. And man, like she can't go like 2 hours without eating. It's like crazy, man. Like I kind of like fast a little bit. Like I'll stay in the morning. I'll just drink a bunch of coffee. But dude, I've lost so much weight since when I was a kid. Like I've yo-yoed it back and forth. But now I'm at like a really good spot. But now that I'm more conscious about everything, and I'm like, one time she cooked like breakfast for us when I was coming back to visit my grandma because she lives with her now. And bro, like the food dude, like like say you make some toast, right? I feel like you just get the dry toast and like you have the butter on the side, right? Or something you want to put on the side if you want to, I'd imagine. Bro, she like soaked both sides of my toasted butter. I'm like, bro, like what is this? Like I'm a butter enjoyer, but dude, like it looked like she had like let the butter melt and then like just dipped it in a vat of butter, bro. I was like, this is insane. And just going back on that, I remember one time like I really didn't want my mom to smoke cigarettes because, dude, she's like always hacking and coughing, dude. Like it sounded pretty bad. And I remember one time I was like, Mom, I think you should try to stop smoking cigarettes, whatever. And like we had a back and forth for a minute. And then she just goes, well, you're fat. That's not good for you. And like looking back on it, that's like the most fucked up thing you could say to your kid, especially when you're the fucking dumbass feed me like just like Burger King, Taco Bell, like every single day, dude. Like that was like insane, dude. Like what? Also thinking back, like where I had to sleep on a couch for like so many years, like I feel like I would give my kid, if I ever had one, which whatever, I feel like I'd give them the bedroom, right? And then I would just like sleep on the couch or, make do with something, dude. Cause I just feel kind of weird about it. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but there's a couple other things. Like my mom was like a mega like was it like kleptomaniac, dude. She would just like steal for like no reason. I remember one time I went to a doctor's appointment with her. Man, how this is so long ago. I had to be like maybe 8 or 9 years old. And as soon as like nurse comes in, right, and then they like talk to you for a minute, and then usually like the nurse comes in, then the doctor comes in shortly after. The nurse had came in and was I guess like just giving her a rundown of something. I don't know. I think it was maybe she was just having like a checkup or something like that. I can't even remember. But once that nurse left, dude, my mom just started stealing a bunch. Dude, like she just started ransacking the entire little like room that we're in. I'm like, what are you doing? She's like stealing like tubes of like I don't know, like ointments and creams and stuff like that. I was like, dude, what is going on with you? But aside from her like klepto shit, she also just like the guys she brought around. She didn't have too many, I guess, like boyfriends or stuff after her and my dad split. But there was this one guy she was with for like a long time that was like a mega piece of shit, dude. Like his name was Forrest, dude. Forrest Watts, dude. Fuck him. I put him on blast, dude. If I ever saw that guy today, I'd probably like smack the shit out of him because he was just such a piece of shit. I remember sometimes like say my mom would go into the store like to grab something and she would leave me in the car with him. Dude, he would like start going through her purse and like to steal shit, and then he would like look back at me like he was gonna fuck me up. Keep in mind I'm like 8 or 9 years old or some shit, dude. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Now see, at the time, no, if I knew what I knew now, whatever, like thinking back, bro, I would have created so much of a problem, bro. My grandma hated this guy, and rightfully so. He's a fucking scumbag. Dude, he was also like mega violent, would beat the shit out of my mom all the time. Dude, one time my mom almost jumped out of the car with me in the back seat because he was just like beating on her. Dude, it was insane. That was like one of the most traumatic experiences of my life. And to top it all off, I remember after that day, like we were coming back from like the lake or something like that. We had went out to go do something, and when we came back, like you'd think she'd be like, get the fuck out of my house. Like I'm like, I'm not doing anything, dude. She cooked this guy food afterwards, and she was like, told me like to get back at him. She's like, I'm gonna spit in his burger, so don't like have anything, like she was like getting one over. I'm like, dude, you're still like with this guy, like after he was like almost killed you and just like ran off with me. Are you out of your mind? But anywho, shout out to anybody else that has an insane mom or fucked up family. Definitely not out there alone on that. And on the flip side, I feel like too much. Like I feel like there's always like neglect and stuff with parents, but I feel like some people can be a little too much. Like I've talked about him before, but my old roommate J-Dub, we called him. Man, his dad had passed away. When he was, I want to say 18, which that's awful. But his mom, I felt like doubled down on him, like in a way. Maybe she was always kind of like this. Who knows? Maybe he was always kind of raised, but she would just like really kind of, I guess, baby him a little too much, and he just really didn't grasp a lot of concepts of things. Like I remember he would get like really upset about doing like basic stuff, and like to be fair, any of the guys I lived with dealt with this on a certain level. Like none of them knew how to clean. Like, oh my god, like I take that back. There was like two roommates. Like we were out of five of us, including me, at least like two of the roommates were like on top of trying to keep things at least somewhat clean. And if it wasn't for us, it would have been like a hoarder house, which sometimes it was, because I was just like, dude, I'm literally not going to clean every single day, because I put in like, you put in 4 hours like cleaning a place up. That's like, pretty much a significant part of your day. And then for it to like turn back around to be at the same level it was the next day, it was so defeating. Like I remember the one guy, I think I called him Dan. Yeah, he was Dan that used to live with me, dude. I remember you were like, all right, dude, let's start like cleaning up a little bit. Like we'll all do it together. We'll knock it out in like no time, right, bro? Like we had to like, this is a big CRT or CRTV, whatever, and it was super dusty because like it just, no one ever cleaned anything, so it was like mega dusty on top. And I remember I was like, oh, if you just want to dust stuff off, dude, I'll like start vacuuming or whatever. And dude, this guy takes a dry paper towel, like no cleaner, like not even like water, bro could at least like spit on it, dude. I don't know. And dude, he just starts like rubbing this like paper towel or the cleaning rag on the top of, dude, all this dust is flying everywhere, just going in his mouth. And he's like, oh, dude, like what the fuck? Why is it so dusty? I'm like, bro, did you not spray anything on that? Like, how do you even know how to wipe your ass at this point, dude? Dude, and so speaking of J-Dub, one funny, so okay, I've said this in one of my other videos that Dan that I was just talking about, he used to work, I think it was like Axis Security. It's the security that's essentially for like Bonnaroo and some of these bigger festivals. I don't know if they're still around, but that's what it was called at the time. And he would, let some people through or confiscate things. So sometimes he'd let people through and they would like give him free shit. And one time, I think someone was trying to sneak in some bud or something like that. And he was like, the guy just handed him this mystery pack, dude. He hands him this mystery bag of white powder, dude. And this was like the time when the whole bath salts thing was like, you weren't really sure if you were getting bath salts or Molly or whatever. So they just pretty much called it he was calling it like the mystery bag. We called it like the mystery bag of speed. And I think maybe we tried some stuff in it once or twice, but I was like, dude, I don't know what that is, or like they did, and I was just, and they left it on the mantle. I guess it was just like a communal, hey, if you just want to try some random experimental stuff, right here is your chance. But I remember J-Dub, when we all lived together, he was kind of a fiend, right? He was a little bit of a fiend, and one day, I don't think we even knew, he like grabbed that bag and he was like wearing it out, dude. And then he was like all bath salted. He was all bath salted out one day. And he just like, I remember coming home from class or something like that. And one of our other, I think it was either Manny that has been in my previous videos. It was one of those guys that I live with. They're like, dude, dude, J-Dub just like was tweaking out, dude. He's like crying in his bedroom, and he just like he just said he needed to go home, and he like left, and his hometown was like 2.5 hours away. So like he just like left and went home for like a few days. To I guess this like I guess he was just tweaking out so bad he just geeked too hard and decided to go home for a while. But bro, J-Dub was also one of those guys like no one ever wanted to smoke with him because like when we throw in like dude, we were like this is back when bud was like way more expensive, dude. Like you're not getting anything under 60 and a 3.5, you know what I mean? Like it's just you're just not. And dude, he'd be like, any of you guys want to smoke? We'd be like, yeah, sure, man. And we would load up, and he would put like, when it's his time to throw in on it, he would just like, on the bowl, he would just like, think of Squidward, bro, when he's eating that Krabby Patty for the first time. He takes that tiny ass bite with his teeth, dude. That's how he'd like rip off his nug and just put like a flake on top. And then when he would get to him, it never made it to the next person. It never ever made it to the next person once he hit it. If it did, it was very rare. Because as soon as he would get it, he would like dude, he just hit so hard and just suck it all through. And we're like, bro, like, you're an asshole. Dude, what the fuck's wrong with you? And so no one ever wanted to smoke with him, dude. Those were definitely the days, man. Like, I remember one time I was so mad, dude. So, like, never had DMT before. And then I had a guy, the Ace dude, that always had, like, some really good shit. He hooked me up with some DMT. And, like, I wanted to bring it back to all the roommates so we could, do it together a little. At least, like, one or two of us could try it out, or, I could share a little bit with them, because this is something we just never really came across. And I remember I was talking to J-Dub, and I was like, dude, do you want to do some of this? I was like, but you can't waste that. Like, you literally have to hold, because you got to like hold it in for like a good while. I'm like, make sure you hold this in. He's like, you mean like I always do? And dude, this was like our last one, because I wanted someone to get an experience. I had already done it like several times, or a couple of times at least, and we had like enough for like one good one. So I was like, all right, who wants to try it? And he volunteered, and I was like, so don't waste this, or I'd just rather save this last bit for myself some other day. And he's like, oh, and I was like, so just hold it in, dude. So we load the bowl up, load it on top of like a little bit of bud, and he hits it, and I was like, hold it. He takes a big hit, and he's like, dude, he holds it for 1 second and blows it out. And he goes, my body feels like sausages. I was like, you motherfucker. You just wait. Like, bro, we all look at each other like, dude, what are you doing, man? J-Dub was wild. I remember when I see him cook, I'm like, man, do you ever like, season your food a little bit? I was like, at least like a little salt and pepper, like while it's cooking, or, throw a little garlic in there or something, when you got some meat going. Bro, this boy, he'd buy like bacon a lot of the times. This guy was salting his bacon when it's cooking. He's like, hey, man, you're right. I was like, dude, you're going to have a stroke. That aneurysm's coming, bro. But, at the end of the day, J-Dub always had a good heart. He always meant well, but he was just, dude, he was just goofy. I remember he started dating this one girl that was like, she was friends of all of us. Just a lot of people had known her for a long time, right? And she was like a bigger girl, whatever. Like no one cared about it because we were like pretty good friends with her, and he was just like it. And Jake never really dated too many girls, and he was like, well, I'm thinking of breaking up with her because she's kind of fat. I'm like, Jake, dude, do whatever you want, man. I was like, I'm sure like it is what it is, man. I don't know. Because I remember he was really infatuated with this one girl. Dude, I don't remember her name. I want to say it was Crystal. I can't even. That sounds really familiar. Man, he was like in love with this girl. And like eventually one day he actually hooked up with her. And she was like insane, dude. She was actually kind of crazy. Like we never really hung out with her. It was just like some things that would happen to him. And maybe the guys she were around is what kind of just pulled the flag or raised that red flag that she was kind of wild, right? She was dating this one guy. Like, I knew a lot of people that were like in bands or, played a lot of instruments, stuff like that. And this one guy named Ryan, dude, he he got into one of my friend's bands, and dude, this guy was a major asshole. But why I bring him up is because I think he was dating that Crystal girl, or like maybe they were broken up for a little while. And dude, he had beef with my roommate J-Dub. But this guy Ryan was such a big like dude, he was like one of the worst people I've probably ever met, like personality wise, just everything. And I remember one time there's this like little talk or little Mexican place, and we would hit that place up every probably like every Monday, I think, because they would do like a 50 cent like hard shell taco night. And bro, we're like broke as hell. I'd get like 10 tacos, chips and salsa, get a beer, like, and I'm out of there for like, like under $10, man. It was great. And they were doing like some kind of, we went there one time, like the band that I knew, and then this guy, he's like, oh, like, because sometimes I'd pop into their practices and like come hang out, just have a beer or two and just chill with them, because I wasn't really doing anything else, whatever. And so we go down there to this little Mexican spot, right? And off the rip, dude, this Ryan guy is just okay. I don't like people who are like, the way you treat your servers and like people like, you're interacting with for a service, man. If you're treating them like shit off the rip, dude, you're already like, I'm judging you hard, man. There's just no need for it, like, right? Like, so he comes up and she's like, I think they have like some kind of margarita deal, and it's just like for the regular margaritas. So like, if you want any other ones, I guess the deal doesn't apply. And I remember he says this. He's like, "Oh, can I get the strawberry margaritas, like the special or whatever?" She's like, "Oh no, sorry, it's just the other one. It's just the basic ones, the lime ones, whatever the fuck it is." And he just like starts talking shit to this server, like, "Oh well, that fucking sucks. Why the hell would you do?" I'm like, "Bro, what?" And dude, he'd carry on with this server for a while, and I was like, dude, they're gonna like spit in our food, dude, if we just like let you. And I remember going up to the server and be like, yo, that guy's kind of fucking crazy. Like, don't mind him anything. Like, just if you want to tell him to go fuck himself, go ahead. We'll back you up. But she didn't. She was a really nice girl. But I remember after that guy ended up leaving their band, right? And I remember at one point, they had started like, because they would tour, play a lot of shows, and they sell merch, so they had like a little a business account set up for their band. And this guy, after he was in it for a little while, I guess he got access to one of the cards. And when they were about to kick him out, or I don't know if they were going to break up or they were going to kick him out. I think they were going to kick him out, or they were looking for someone else. Dude, he was like trying to pull all their money out of that account, and they like had to close his card. Dude, he was like a huge dickhead. But anyways, man, I've dipped my toes back into Red Dead Redemption 2. I never beat it, but going back to that game, I feel like I stick to a handful of games, right? I'm playing like I've been playing a little Baldur's Gate here. Baldur's Gate is great, man. Like it, I think what made me go back to Red Dead 2 is like I was like, damn, dude, I forgot like how it's nice to have like a full-fledged game, right? So I'm going back into Red Dead 2, just the story. I used to play a lot of the online and stuff, but like I've been really like, especially since I got a new monitor like a little while back, and so I'm going back and playing these older games on like a way better monitor. And I was like, damn, dude, it's really nice and refreshing to play like a game that's just like has some fucking heart and soul into it. Like I'm actually getting immersed, dude. I'm having a beer in real life. I'm getting fights in the bars in game while I'm having a beer. It's great. Like, but the voice acting, everything, it's a goated game, dude. Like holy crap. Also been back into CS2 a little bit. I know a lot of people are kind of like either really like it or really don't like it, but I enjoy it. It's a nice little refreshing take. But I've never played Counter-Strike like hyper competitive or anything, but I've been trying to run it back, trying to get my legs, if you will, back into the game a little bit, and I really enjoy it. I also realized I have like some of these old cases, because I started playing CSGO, I guess, like day of launch. I have some of these old cases that are like worth like $20 and shit. I'm like, dude, what? Like, I was looking through it, and apparently there's like a knife in there that I saw someone trying to sell for like 30 grand, or like I saw it going for 5. But dude, that's insane to me. I know I'm late on this game, but I didn't realize how like lucrative or like how expensive skins can get. It's kind of wild, like for Counter Strike. But I've been for the most part enjoying CS2. I like the new smokes and everything's pretty nice, but yeah, like I stick to the same games, man. Like other than Baldur's Gate, which I've been playing with my girl, but her video card died, so I'm gonna have to pop one of the new one in for her. But Dude, Baldur's Gate's, and I've never been like a big, I've liked real time strategy and stuff, but like when it comes to like turn based stuff, like Final Fantasy Tactics style type of game, like I never really get into it, or I haven't played one forever. But dude, I absolutely love it. If you ever played Divinity, Original Sin 2, that was a fun game too. But the dude, Gate is excellent. Love it. And I hear a lot of people hyped about the new Cyberpunk. I have it. I need to reinstall it and give it a go. But dude, anymore, I feel like what's going on in the year 2023, you can't tell me that this is not probably a somewhat of a strategy, right? Because even if you have like a ton of storage, like I feel like I feel like some game companies are just like making the games ridiculously large. So like it's like, well, you can't install anything else. You gotta play this game. I don't know if anyone else feels like that, but here lately, when I see a game it's like 100 and something gigs, I'm like, come on, man. It's not like an MMO, but sometimes I understand like Red Dead's huge. I had to uninstall so much shit. I barely have any space to even like record gameplay or anything, but it's this is something that's been on my mind the past, like, I don't know, year or so, because like I was thinking about all the fighters coming out. Like Street Fighter's a huge game, Mortal Kombat's a huge game, Tekken's gonna be gigantic. So it's like, dude, like you can't play, like if you have all three of those games installed at once, like you maybe have like 50 gigs left or some shit. But I really like making this type of content, and this channel really, it kind of makes me feel more aware of myself, and it just feels nice to kind of share some of these experiences and just kind of BS a little bit, like I have on this a little bit longer for a little bit. It's actually significantly longer, but I like long form content. I like to watch podcasts, stuff like that. So I don't know. I feel like maybe a couple people might like to have something on in the background that they don't have to worry about finding as much stuff. So here we are. So I'm gonna try to upload a little bit better. I know I say that in a lot of videos, but I'm really gonna try this time. But until next time, take it easy, gamers.